The Combine is here, and all eyes are on the quarterbacks as they take the field to showcase their talent. Some choosing to throw, while others will wait until their pro days. Ty Simpson from Alabama is one of the quarterbacks who will throw at Indianapolis this week. He's viewed as a top 2 quarterback in this draft, and with a good showing this week, could help his cause to go in the first round. While he is going to throw, Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza is not. The presumptive number 1 overall pick is going to instead throw at his pro day. That's April 1st. He'll be there in Indianapolis this week. It's not a far drive from Bloomington, Indiana, where he played his final college season. We have seen many top quarterbacks opt for the strategy that Mendoza is pursuing this year as well. And welcome into NFL Live. I am Field Yates with our crew here of Mina Kimes and Tim Hasselbeck and Matt Miller. A big week is upon us, everybody, as we have the Indianapolis Combine taking place this week. The entire NFL world is descending upon that great city. Let's start with Ty Simpson, and he is going to throw, I should say, this week, Matt. A decision that is perhaps not surprising given that he did not finish on a strong note this past year. What do you make of his choice to throw in Indianapolis?
Yeah, Phil, this is the right decision by Ty Simpson. We have a quarterback who was a one-year starter at the University of Alabama, started just 15 games. And when I look at his tape, I see a player that a little bit undersized. He's listed at 6'2", 208 pounds. The first 9 games of the season last year, fantastic. The final 6 games, not as good. And I think this is going to be an opportunity for him to show teams who he is, show teams that he's healthy now after looking banged up over the second half of the season. Did suffer an injury, a cracked rib against Indiana as well. But for a lot of general managers, this will be their first or maybe second time seeing Ty Simpson in person because he was just a one-year starter at Alabama. So the on-field workout is an important opportunity for him to show teams who he is after not being able to compete at the Senior Bowl due to that rib injury. So I think this is the right decision and a huge opportunity for him, Tim, to put himself into that first-round conversation. We know Mendoza is going to go first. He's not pushing up there, but he puts himself in that conversation as a viable franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I mean, look, throwing at the Combine, if it doesn't help you, doesn't make sense. It's why Mendoza's not throwing. It's why we've seen other quarterbacks in the past that kind of knew where they were going to end up, not throw at the Combine. If it can help you, then go compete. And that's exactly where Ty Simpson is for everything that you just outlined. He's a one-year starter. They're going to want to get some legitimate measurements on him to make sure that everyone's comfortable with the size. And then if you're Simpson, you're also throwing, with other quarterbacks there that aren't necessarily guys that you've been throwing against or next to in years past. So it's an opportunity to look the best out of the group that's throwing there. So I think, kind of at every single turn, it makes sense for Ty Simpson to throw, show well. And I do think this is a scenario where the postseason and the draft process could actually help somebody. I think it will be favorable to Simpson. I think ultimately probably get him into the first round.
Yeah, Tim alluded to something that I actually find maybe more interesting or important with regards to Simpson than the throwing. I'm interested in the measurements. He's listed at 6'2". I'm interested in seeing if he is 6'2" at the Combine because on tape, he is a smaller quarterback, unlike Mendoza. But as far as throwing goes, totally in agreement. It benefits him to throw. I think my only concern from an evaluation standpoint is the biggest problems I saw, particularly as the season went along, were accuracy and decision-making under pressure. Obviously, that's not something you're going to see at the Combine. So showing off the accuracy is important because that will be the case for him, I believe, to be drafted in the first round. But I would be cautious of reading too much into it in terms of some of the weaknesses we saw on the field because those will not be put to the test at the Combine.
Lots of teams interested in a quarterback, obviously, this offseason. They include the likes beyond the Raiders of the Jets, the Cardinals, the Steelers, and the Dolphins, amongst others, that will also bubble up into that quarterback market. If Simpson does go in the first round, he'd be the 4th Alabama quarterback taken in the first round in the last 6 drafts. Quite a run for the Crimson Tide. New on NFL Live, we have some news coming from Atlanta today. This via Jeremy Fowler, who says the Falcons plan to franchise tag tight end Kyle Pitts. A source confirmed. This was the expectation league-wide. Now Atlanta locks it in. Mina, you like this decision by the Falcons to franchise tag Kyle Pitts?
I think it makes sense. Start with the cost of the tag, about $15 million. That's not a lot. I mean, that's like the 25th highest paid receiver for comparison's sake. So just from a position standpoint, tagging him as they, I imagine, try to work out a long-term deal, it does make sense. And I'll say this about Kyle Pitts. I feel like because he started out so strong in his career and then had some downs relative from a production standpoint, obviously red zone being most notable, it was almost slept on last year that he had the second most yards of any tight end in football behind McBride. You really saw when Drake London was out, his emergence as the number one option at times for Atlanta. He has unique field stretching ability for a tight end. I think he's improved also in pass protection. So I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta does try to get a deal done. And it makes sense to me from a coaching perspective, too, with Kevin Stefanski coming in.
Yeah, completely agree. Look, in terms of just talent, I mean, and he still has the talent that, is why he was drafted where he was drafted. I mean, to your point, strong start and then kind of fell off the map and disappeared from a production standpoint, and then kind of had a better season a year ago. I think some of that was the quarterback play a year ago was slightly better than it had been during the dip in production. So I do think that when people look at Kyle Pitts and understand the unique ability in terms of his size and athleticism, catch radius, all of that stuff, that they're going to look at it and say, you know what, we could get more out of him, or we should be getting more out of him, which is exactly what Kevin Stefanski is going to be thinking about, the tight end. So, and then you reference the money. Look, it's exactly why, you go back and years ago, Jimmy Graham wanted to be, considered a wide receiver because he played detached rather than as an inline tight end. Look, Kyle Pitts is most dangerous when he's detached from the formation. So comparing him to high-paid wide receivers does make sense from the standpoint of it's pretty much a bargain at $15 million on a one-year deal.
Matt, let's spin this to the draft. As now there will be one less free agent tight end available. Who are some of the tight ends that you think are rising as we get through this process over the next couple of months?
Yeah, I think we have one first-round wide receiver, and that's Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon, who is he's an athletic freak. He's 6'3", 245 pounds. I won't be surprised if he is the best performer this week at the scouting combine. He should jump over 41 inches. Bench press is going to be through the roof. His agility shows up on tape, but it's that ability in the red area that really separated him. Now, there are some drop concerns. That's going to pop up as we talk about him more over the next 2 months, but he is the best tight end prospect in this class from a move tight end perspective. He gets great effort in the run game as a blocker as well. So he is one of those players that now could benefit with one less tight end available on the market.
And it is a super deep draft class at tight end, Matt. As you know, there's not many top-heavy players, but this year, day 3 is going to have some legit players at that position. Just getting started here on NFL Live. There's much more ahead, including Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, who are looking to get back to the postseason. Tim thinks it may come down to re-signing one anchor on the offensive line. Plus, Matthew Stafford is coming off of an MVP season, but Matt thinks it might be the perfect time for the Rams to draft his replacement.